We light the candle to remind us of the light of reason, the source of meaning and wonder in the world. And as we light the candle, let us remember how the light was ignited in each one of us, as we were born curious and craving affection. We close the candle in the lantern to remind us that the light must be protected. Just as the flame can be fanned through the virtues of compassion and skepticism, so too can it be extinguished through fear and ignorance and neglect. Embody the light through rigorous study and application of skeptical values. Spread the light through education and outreach, and through your shining example. Protect the light by standing up for science and reason wherever darkness gathers. Be the light, spread the light, protect the light. Be the light, spread the light, protect the light. Let it be so.
Let it be so.
Welcome, everyone, and thank you for coming today. We appreciate you taking the time. Those driving far and near, we appreciate it. We try to move around each sanctuary to a different location to make it easier for people to come and attend, so we appreciate y'all making the time. It's great to see so many new faces, and returning faces are always wonderful to see as well. This is our 13th sanctuary. Wow. Yay, lucky number 13. But also, we're almost at a year. This is our 12th month. We have 13 services because we did 2 in November last year, 1 in California. You may have already noticed that we have new reflection books. They have been updated. We have new reflections added to them. If you don't have one, please let us know. We'll make sure you get one. We've added many pages, including new beacon reflections, one devoted for each beacon. So each reflection has its own beacon.
And vice versa.
And vice versa. You'll also notice that we've combined the Skeptics Toolkit with the reflection book now. So they're not 2 separate books anymore. We have them together in one single book. And the Skeptics Toolkit has also been updated. It has new texts and new resources available in it. So take a look at your leisure. Next month is going to be our 1-year anniversary.
Yeah.
Yay! Can't believe it. I cannot believe it. It's going to be a year. If you look in your reflection books or next to it, you'll see the little insert that has save the date. August 15th. It shows the details in the little pamphlet or program. We're going to be celebrating Midnight Mass, which will be a very special evening and a very, very special event. We're partnering with Lobo AR, Jessica and Luis, our sweet members and good friends. And they're both here today. Thank you very much for your support. If you haven't already, go check out their Instagram. They have lots of cool equipment for their studio. They have it for podcasters and content creators and much more. So they've got a great spot for us. We are going to be mailing out invites for our Midnight Mass. If you haven't already done so and you'd like an actual invite, I think they're probably going to be pretty cool. If you want us to mail you one, if you haven't already, let us know. We don't have the mailing list today. I will take your address. We are also going to be sending out invites. So when we send out those reminders, we can ask for your mailing addresses at that time. And if you're comfortable, just give us your mailing address and we'll send you the invites when they go out next week-ish. Welcome to our live stream. Thank you, everybody who's watching. If you are not available one of the times that we have sanctuaries, you're welcome to join the live stream. It keeps getting better and better. We had some technical difficulties last month, but we're getting better and better at it. So thank you, Adam. Thank you, Augustine. Thank you, Sean at home. Everybody else that's part of our AV team, we appreciate it. We've updated the live stream to include different angles, different features. We are now sharing the reflections on the screen, so the live stream looks pretty different now. Much more updated, you're able to follow along, and every month we keep getting better and better, so thanks for that. Thank you, AV team. You can also watch if you're not able to attend or not able to attend the live stream. We have all of our old sanctuaries, our old live streams, previous incandescences, illuminations. They're all on our Ministry of Skepticism YouTube channel. So you can also get updates and on recent activities and all of our future events by following our socials. So our Instagram is where we post most of, what we're doing, what's coming, all that information. It's the best way to get information about what we're doing if you want to keep in touch. Also, we have a couple of t-shirts in the audience, but we're going to be, eventually we'll have another t-shirt outing where we're making t-shirts. You get to design your own MoS t-shirt. It's really fun. Vicky's wearing one of the cool ones right now. It's the only one I can see, but they're really cool. And Luis, yeah.
Model
awesome.
It. Yep. Nice.
Also, we're going to be updating about the 1-year anniversary on Instagram. So included in everybody's handout is a QR code. That'll take you to our Instagram. So if you're not already following, you can use that. It helps us keep our community connected. And that's it for our welcome. Happy Sanctuary. Thank you for coming. Spread the light.
Amazing. Awesome. Thank you, Celina. So the Ministry of Skepticism, for those of you that are new, and we can't say it enough for those of us that are returning, to remind us of what our objectives are, what our mission is, what we're doing here. The Ministry of Skepticism provides a reasoned approach to spirituality, meaning, and ethics, inspired by science and skepticism. We exist for people, presumably just like you, who are curious, who crave a sense of community and meaning and purpose, but who may feel unmoved by or dissatisfied with conventional religions and faith-based claims. We, at MoS, reject the notion of non-overlapping magisteria. Why did you steal my coffee? What kind of man? Oh, thank you. Respect. The idea that science and religion represent separate domains that should necessarily remain divided. That's what non-overlapping magisteria refers to, and we reject that idea. We endorse the perspective expressed by the cosmologist and beloved science communicator Carl Sagan, who wrote, "The notion that science and spirituality are somehow mutually exclusive does a disservice to both." Carl Sagan, in his seminal work, The Demon-Haunted World, described science as a candle in the dark. You want my coffee? Too loud. Oh. Who said that? My mom? Oh, it's for the AV guys? We're like spiking, and they can hear us in the library. Okay, don't mind us. Please carry on. Disregard the sound of my voice if you can hear us. Or come. We've still got some seats. Huh? I can turn it down. We don't have to move the mic. I just turn it down. Lectern. I literally stood here for 10 minutes before we started saying, check, check, check. How's that? Check? Is that all right? I think the thing is, once I start talking, I get excited. It gets even louder. Sagan described science as a candle in the dark. We all right? So the Ministry of Skepticism is spreading, what? No, I don't go, I only go one direction. The Ministry of Skepticism is spreading the light of scientific skepticism through the promotion of reason, critical thinking, and scientific literacy. So to read the expanded passage from Carl Sagan, because it is a wonderful passage and provides a lot of inspiration for what we are doing here, we will call up Aiyan to read the quote from Carl Sagan. And you can find this on page 7 of your new Reflections booklets.
Science is not only compatible with spirituality, it is a profound source of spirituality. When we recognize our place in an immensity of light years and in the passage of ages, when we grasp the intricacy, beauty, and subtlety of life, then that soaring feeling, that sense of elation and humility combined is surely spiritual. So are our emotions in the presence of great art or music or literature or acts of exemplary, selfless courage. The notion that science and spirituality are somehow mutually exclusive does a bit disservice to both.
Thank you. Well said. And you can see why we love that passage. It really does capture the spirit and the philosophy of what we're doing here. And our contention is, why would you cut off the most important, most pressing, most concerning questions that we have about our purpose and meaning and morality and ethics and all these things? Why would you cut those off from the best tools that we've ever discovered for finding meaningful answers about the nature of reality? And we call the collection of those tools science. That's all that science is a collection of the best practices, the best techniques that we have for discovering the true nature of reality. Cool. We got G coming in and George. Welcome, you guys. We have new Reflections booklets. Make sure you get one of those. And find a seat. Welcome. Whoops. In fact, hold that thought. Welcome to Sanctuary. We call this a sanctuary because it is a safe space. A sanctuary is a refuge from the delusions and madness and motivated reasoning that occupies so much of our lives. Certainly so much of our contemporary lives. But we provide here in this space not only shelter from the deluge of misinformation and self-serving righteousness, but also we provide the means with which to identify it and dispel it. This is a safe space for reason and the rational exploration of all claims, free from capricious moral judgments. To welcome us in this space, we'd like to call up Joby. Make sure that Joby is mic'd, yes. And you can follow along on page 8 of your booklets.
Sanctuary. This is a space of sanctuary. All are welcome here, and there are no ideas that are forbidden, no questions that are off limits. Beliefs are personal. Each of us is free to determine how we ascribe value and meaning. In this space, claims are neither accepted nor rejected by decree. We do not offer a fixed set of laws. There is no canon and there are no commandments. We offer patience and fellowship and the tools to guide you in your own pursuit of truth. Skepticism is a process, not a position. Believe what you will. What is private and personal is your own business. but for anything that can be measured or quantified, or that you hope to have validated or affirmed. So long as you are willing to follow the evidence in good faith, wherever it may lead, then you are welcome in this space. You will find sanctuary here. Let it be so.
Let it be so. Thank you, Joby. So to dedicate this month's beacon, because every month we focus on a different beacon, we will talk a little bit more about beacons here shortly, but for what we'd like to do right now, or for right now, we'd like to dedicate this month's beacon, which is self-awareness. Each month we move through the beacons. Last month we were at the bottom, we'd gotten all the way to agency, and now we are moving back to the top to self-awareness. So in your sanctuary reflection booklets, bear with me, on page 11 is where we're headed. There we have a call and response. It has all the beacons. This month's beacon is self-awareness, and so we're just going to read the ones at the top. I will start it with the bold line, and then you guys will respond in italics. Self-awareness is the greatest miracle in the universe. I am how the universe thinks about itself. Yes, that is perfectly religious. It sounds totally like a religious service. This is a non-religious religion, so although it sounds liturgical, there's nothing supernatural about what we did there, right? The ideas are still based and rooted in science and skepticism, but yes, this is modeled after a religious service. It won't always have this meta quality where we are constantly commenting on what we're doing here, or the overt religiosity or not of the proceedings, but I think sometimes a little self-awareness is appropriate, certainly in light of today's beacon. Facing that call and response that we just read on the same spread on page 10 is the beacon's framework. So there's a little more that goes into all these things. We have the 5 beacons which are highlighted there on the retractable banner. Oh, and I can also bring this up for our review. I could have done that too. We'll get better at this. But this is a breakdown of the actual framework. Hi, look. How cute. Hi. Well, we scared her off. You can come in if you want, of course. Wait, maybe it's a new candle bearer. Not to replace Wyatt, but to help you. Probably would replace LuLu. Oh, wow. Yeah. That hurts me to say it, but it's about the next generation. So within this framework, each beacon is supported by a revelation, a virtue, and a discipline. And you can see underneath each beacon all the corresponding elements, the virtues, the revelations, and the disciplines. The particular supporting elements for this month's beacon are the revelation, I exist, the virtue, that I am curious, and the discipline, that I am fallible. And disciplines, I should point out, are also virtues. They just tend to be virtues that are a little more effortful to put into practice. They are less intuitive. They require discipline, which is why we call them disciplines. And I point this out because our disciplines derive directly from fundamental scientific principles. So if you see all those disciplines there along the bottom, those mostly correlate with kind of bedrock scientific principles. Now, neither the beacons nor anything that we teach here should be considered special knowledge. But if there is anything that could be said to be our secret sauce, it is surely found in these disciplines. You'll hear today's beacon of self-awareness referenced, and all the corresponding themes that go along with it. You'll hear them referenced periodically throughout today's sanctuary. And to that end, I'd like to call up now for our incandescence. Our incandescence is kind of like our version of a testimony. It's when people have an opportunity to share their personal story and to reflect on the beacons and how these ideas, scientific skepticism, impact their lives. And today to share her story is Sera Gonzalez, who's going to come up and present her incandescence. So we welcome Sera Gonzalez.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Hello. So, as Arlo said, this month's beacon is self-awareness, and that the most basic expression is a realization I exist. And it sounds almost too simple to talk about. Existence seems really obvious. The philosopher René Descartes said, "I think, therefore I am." That seems pretty straightforward. I'm thinking, check, done, existence. But what really is existence? Sure, it's possible to wake up, to go to work, handle responsibilities, eat, sleep, and repeat the cycle over and over. That is an existence. But is it awareness? Self-awareness isn't what makes us exist. It forms how we express our existence. To me, this means recognizing the ability to make choices, challenge assumptions, and shape the person you become. And for a long time, I wasn't doing that. So when I was younger, I was often told what I couldn't do. My friends told me they could never imagine me on the drill team. This is the girls who dance during the half times at high school sporting events. I tried out and I made the team. Another time, a friend said I could never run a half marathon, let alone a full marathon. I have run 7 halves, 1 full, and several 5Ks. So I did these things not because I wanted to, not because they aligned with my goals. I was never trying to get in shape. And not because I enjoyed them. Well, I did enjoy the medals after doing the runs, like I have a whole little plaque. I did them because someone told me I couldn't. And at the time, it felt empowering and a little rebellious, and it seems like it was independence. But looking back, I don't think it was, because I didn't make those decisions for myself. I was allowing someone else to determine my actions. They said left, so I went right. But they were still setting the direction. Then there were other people in my life, authority figures, people I respected and revered. And sometimes they would communicate, directly or indirectly, that I couldn't do something. Maybe they didn't enjoy it, so they thought no one would enjoy it. Maybe they didn't think I was ready or capable. And unlike the comments from my peers, these messages often stuck. I internalized them. I let them become how I viewed myself. I put limits on myself before anyone else had a chance. Of course, any success I had was a fluke, a chance of luck, not my own determination and will. Nope. It's funny, when I think about it now, when peers doubted me, I rebelled. When authority figures doubted me, I often accepted it. But in both situations, I was making the same mistake. I was treating other people's opinions as evidence. And this is where skepticism comes in. When we talk about skepticism, usually it's something we apply outwardly. We question politicians and advertisements and headlines we see online and religious claims. And we should. But it's equally important that we direct skepticism inward. How often do we stop and ask, why do I believe this about myself? What evidence do I actually have? Is this conclusion justified? Those can be uncomfortable questions because we may find the beliefs limiting us aren't actually our own. They're inherited, borrowed, and repeated. They've been sitting in our minds so long that we've mistaken them for facts. I questioned when people told me the earth was flat, but not when they told me who I was. The turning point came when a peer challenged me whether I could take care of myself. It seems kind of rude. And my immediate reaction was exactly as you'd expect. I thought, oh, I'll prove you wrong. Watch me. But something different happened this time. While proving them wrong, I started making decisions for myself. Not reactive decisions, intentional decisions. I started asking what I wanted. I started setting goals because they mattered to me. I started choosing experiences because I was curious about them. For perhaps the first time, I wasn't responding to someone else's expectations. I was responding to my own. And that changed everything. Once I started making my own choices, I started noticing something. I had accepted a lot of beliefs about myself without ever examining them. I had never really asked, why do I think I can't do this? Where did that belief come from? I had simply repeated this negativity to myself enough times that it felt true. As skeptics, we know confidence is not evidence. Neither is popularity, tradition, nor authority. So why do we sometimes accept claims about ourselves without investigation? Why do we hold ourselves to a lower standard of skepticism than we hold the world? Maybe it's fear. It's easier to believe we can't do something. It's safer. If we never try, we never fail and risk embarrassment. If we never leave our comfort zone, we never have to discover our limitations. But we also never discover and appreciate our capabilities. And that's the trade-off. The things that help us avoid disappointment often prevent growth. These days, I try not to say I can't. Not because I think I can do everything. I absolutely cannot. There are plenty of things I will never be good at. But I've learned I can't is often a conclusion reached before an investigation has begun. Instead, I try to say, this might be difficult and uncomfortable, and it might not even work, but let's see. This mindset leaves room for evidence, discovery, and growth. In fact, standing here right now talking to you is an example. I do not like public speaking. If you had asked me years ago to stand in front of a room full of people and people on the internet and give a talk, I would have laughed in your face and said no. Not because I had tried and failed or had strong evidence that I couldn't do it, but because I had convinced myself it was something I could not do. Today, I still find it intimidating. I'm still nervous, a bit sweaty, my stomach kind of hurts, moving around. But I've stopped treating nervousness as evidence. They're not the same. Uncomfortable doesn't mean incapable. Being afraid doesn't mean you shouldn't try. Sometimes it just means you're growing. The more you grow, the more it hurts. Self-awareness, I exist, is just a starting point. From here, we can see that others exist. We can question our assumptions and eventually choose who we become. It's not automatic. It requires curiosity and honesty, and most importantly, skepticism, especially about the stories we tell ourselves. I'll leave you with a challenge. What are you telling yourself that you can't do? What belief about yourself have you never examined? If you approach that belief the way a skeptic approaches any other claim, what would you find? Maybe the evidence would support it, but maybe not. But either way, you'd be closer to the truth. And maybe that's what self-awareness looks like. Not merely moving through the world, but consciously participating in your own life. Questioning, choosing, growing. And remembering that the stories we tell ourselves deserve the same skepticism as any other claim. Thank you.
Awesome. Amazing. Thank you for that, Sera. Thank you for that. The incandescence is always the best part of what we do here because it is personal. It shares insights. The insights that we learn, that we gain along the way, when we share them with others, we are all able to kind of grow together and learn from each other's experiences. We've had kind of a first row seat to this growth and this process that Sera has been going through. Every week before the sanctuary, we have a rehearsal. We get together, some of us, and kind of run through the run of show and talk about the staging and the different things that we need to do. We are constantly revising the sanctuaries, which those of you that have returned or come to multiple will notice that it keeps changing. But so we get together and we talk about these things. And as we've done it, one of the things that we have to do is we have to assign the readings. We have different people come up and read, and Sera initially had always said she wasn't interested. And then one fateful rehearsal, Sera said, I can read if you need me to. So we did. We gave her something to read. After doing that a couple of times, she started offering to read. And I said, whenever you're ready to do an incandescence, let us know. And she wasn't ready right away, but she said, I'll let you know. And then eventually she said, I'm ready. Worth the wait. And it was absolutely worth the wait. So the incandescence you saw here today was the end of that process. And Sera, what you said is exactly right. The stories that we tell ourselves aren't necessarily who we are. They are just stories that we tell ourselves. And through our actions, we can change those stories. Getting up and standing up here and doing an incandescence, public speaking, defies this narrative that Sera had about herself, that she wasn't a public speaker, that it wasn't something that she was good at. But of course, that's not necessarily true. It's just something that you tell yourself. And then you get up here and you do it. And each time you do it, you get a little better at it. You get a little less nervous. It never goes away. Sera asked me, she said, Arlo, do you get nervous before you go up there? I said, yeah, of course. She's like, really? You don't seem nervous? Yeah, we get nervous. The difference is not that you ever stop being nervous. It's that you learn that it's just part of the experience. And as you said, being uncomfortable is not the same thing as being incapable. So good for you. That was wonderful. And unless you'd mentioned it, no one would know that was your first time. And the content of what you said was just so eloquently stated, so well articulated, and you really captured so many of the important themes that we really want to focus on here. So thank you for that. So one of the challenges with Ministry of Skepticism is how we talk about Ministry of Skepticism and how we communicate it. The best way to learn what it's about and what we're doing is to show up. Like some of our new faces here. Thank you guys for coming. This is the best way to kind of learn. We also have constellations, which are social meetups once a month. You can learn more about that. I think Celina will give us some information about that in our closing remarks. But the best way to learn is to be here, to experience it firsthand, or to watch it on the live stream. But there are many occasions where we get an opportunity to talk about it, where we get to spread the light. I talked about our rehearsals. Well, earlier this week we had a dinner with Sera and Adam, and we're talking about some of the logistical issues concerning today's sanctuary. And at the restaurant, while we were talking about this, our server said, "What are you guys doing? What is this?" So we had an opportunity to talk about Ministry of Skepticism. We happen to have flyers with us because we never leave home without our flyers. She had to work today, so she couldn't make it, but we directed her to our Facebook and our socials. She just graduated from UTD. In economics, I asked if she knew Dorothy. I think she might have been in a different school. But the point is there are always opportunities to talk about what we are doing. And as we've gone throughout this past year, we have kind of learned and refined the ways that we talk about Ministry of Skepticism. I'd like to share with you an opportunity that I had recently on the Making Sense community forum. So Sam Harris, a leading public intellectual, wow, that is a bright slide. But recently he launched the Making Sense community, and it's like a forum, a message board, but for people a lot like us who are just really thoughtful about things and want to do deep dives on sometimes interesting conversations, a lot of times at the edges of what we know. things that challenge our beliefs, as Sera said. It's a great place to really test your ideas with a community of other people that are up for those kinds of challenges. Not just challenging other people, but challenging themselves, which is a core feature of skepticism. And so I've gone on there periodically, and recently I saw a post titled Critical Thinking, Teaching Critical Thinking in Schools. And this is right up our alley. This is something of great interest to us as skeptics, as members of the Ministry of Skepticism, because it speaks directly to our mission. We are trying to spread the light of science and reason. And the commentator wrote, it's not up here, so you don't have to look for it, but the commentator wrote in his post, he wrote, "If it was up to me, I'd ensure that schools and universities had mandatory critical thinking classes. If we are going to raise a future generation, then they need to be resilient, able to think for themselves, and be able to navigate the labyrinths of social media, AI-generated fakery, and the increasing polarization we see in society." 100%. I think we all can agree with that. And then he went on to list some ideas of things that he'd like to see taught in schools. He said a plurality of views, respectful discourse, steel manning, how to identify reputable sources, etc. All important skeptical tools, and most of these are laid out in our Skeptics Toolkit, which you all have now. And I nodded along approvingly from behind my keyboard. I'm like, yeah, right. There was nothing to add until I saw a reply from another poster. And then I felt compelled to chime in. The respondent said, sadly, critical thinking is far from the goal of many people at every governmental level in charge of academia in the US. If we can't even keep intelligent design out of the public school debate, critical thinking is clearly hardly a priority. It's never been more important since the advent of the internet and the daily bombardment with mis and disinformation. He said, "I completely agree. I just don't see this turning into anything practical when religion still dominates the culture." Aha. So we're called back into action. I put on my MoS superhero cape, jumped into the chat. I mean, I literally felt like I was being called out. And so to not respond, I felt like would have been an insult to what we're doing here. So I responded, and I'm going to share with you a little bit of what I wrote. And bear in mind that the reason I'm sharing this is not just to talk about messaging, which it clearly is that, but it's also to show an example of, after a year of refining and talking about it and thinking about it, I think I will point it out. As I got into this and got into my flow, I thought that this ended up being kind of one of the better articulations I've ever managed to communicate the Ministry of Skepticism to a cold audience, someone who knows nothing about it. But I responded, I said, as you said, religion dominates the culture. Religions don't wait for governments or school boards to teach their kids what's important to them, although they often try very hard to compel them. Rather, religions rely on their own institutions and traditions to teach their children what's important. Christians, Jews, Muslims, Hindus, et al. Pass down their values through Sunday schools, church services, prayers, venerated special occasions, and more. As non-believers, or as people committed to an evidence-based, naturalistic worldview, what institutions do we have to compete with that? And the conventional answer historically likely would have been our schools and our institutions of higher learning. But those are all under attack. Texas just made Bible readings mandatory in public schools. Research institutions are being defunded. And even under the best circumstances, our children have been criminally underprepared to deal with the deluge of disinformation that they're bombarded with daily. Whatever the reason, our public institutions have not proven up to the task of instilling meaningful critical thinking skills, let alone any kind of useful values derived from scientific principles. And this is where I felt like I really started to find my groove. So this is the paragraph that I was really excited to share with you guys. We set up the nonprofit Ministry of Skepticism to answer this challenge and to fill the void left between churches and schools. The faith-based approach of churches is difficult to reconcile with all the empirical discoveries of the last several hundred years. And schools are too slow, inefficient, and politically influenced to enact any kind of meaningful policy. Our solution is a non-religious religion to provide an institutional framework with regular services, meaningful lessons, rituals, language, and symbols, all built around scientific skeptical values. It's not an atheist organization. We do not teach the absence of God, or any conclusion for that matter. In the spirit of scientific skepticism, we focus on the process, not the conclusions. We care far less about what you believe than how you arrive at your beliefs. And then I included at the end of that post a link to our Instagram page. And I will also share with you a response as a validation of our proof of concept. But he wrote in response to that post, Christianity has monopolized conversation around death, morality, and meaning for far too long. I think rational alternatives are absolutely essential if we aren't going to crash and burn as a society. Love what you're doing. Yay for us. Yes. I love what we're doing too. So in that spirit, our next reflection is gratitude. And this will be our final reflection before we take a short 10-minute break. But this is an opportunity to reflect upon all that we have to be grateful for and how the very fact of existence, despite its sheer improbability, can be a profound source of meaning. So to read the reflection on gratitude, we'd like to invite up Jessica. Or you might? Yes. And this is on page 13 of your booklets.
Hello. Gratitude. We have so much to be grateful for. The very fact that we are here, that any of us should exist, despite the extraordinary odds against it, it truly is a miracle. And the fact that we are here in this space together, sharing this experience of communion and fellowship, is a gift worth cherishing. So let us take a moment to be thoughtful and reflect upon this blessing, to enjoy the fellowship of friends and family and neighbors as we come together to celebrate the light of reason, the virtues of skepticism, and the miracle of existence. Let it be so.
Perfect. Thank you. So we are just about to take our 10-minute break. It'll be a great opportunity to get some more coffee, donuts. You can use the restroom. We'd like to point your attention to the merch table in the back if you haven't been back there yet. Some of you ordered shirts. If you haven't picked them up yet, they are also back there. Each is individually packaged and wrapped, and they've got your names written on them. If you haven't paid yet, you can use the Venmo and the Zelle QR codes back there. If that's not within your capabilities, then just talk to us. We can work it out. Not a huge deal. If you'd like to get a shirt in the future, also talk to us about that, or just follow our socials and stay tuned for our next t-shirt outing. Even if you can't make it, you can always put in your order. We will make your t-shirts for you and bring them, just like we've done here. We've got books back there. We sell The Demon Haunted World. We suggest $20. All of our prices back there that are listed are just recommendations. We're a nonprofit. We appreciate any donations, but the most important thing for us is that you guys take whatever you want or you need. If you think that you'd like to have this book and that you'd read it, and that would be meaningful and helpful for you, but you can't afford it right now, no big deal. Or if you think $5 is more in your budget, go for it. The important thing is that we want you to engage with these ideas. And we've introduced a new book for the first time here, The Skeptics Guide to the Universe, written by Stephen Novella and the other rogues from the Skeptics Guide to the Universe crew. Popular skeptic podcasters, but it is a great book, a great resource. It is like the Skeptics Toolkit, inspired by Carl Sagan's Blowing Detection Kit, but on steroids. It's a novel-sized book. It really expands on and explains the ideas. Celina is reading it right now. It is just, and it's well written and easy to engage with and grasp the ideas. It will really help you to understand the tools and the techniques of skepticism, particularly cognitive biases, logical fallacies, things like that. We have pins back. Sorry, I just tapped the mic. We have pins back there. They're magnetic pins. Some of our members are wearing them today. We have coffee mugs. I think we've got a few of those left. We'll have to reorder those very soon. And a note about the books, because you can buy these online, of course. All the books that we have for sale here have our custom Ministry of Skepticism seal in here. Recommended reading, selected reading. Even if you don't buy a book, definitely take a look at it because it's cool. One of the cool little branded features that we do. Everything helps. All of your support's appreciated. We've got a 1-year anniversary coming up. That's going to require a little bit of a budget. We don't expect anything, but we certainly appreciate all that you guys do to help and support us. And Celina already mentioned the addresses. We don't have a form back there. Just talk to us. Let us know. If you're interested in getting an invite, we will figure out a way to get one to you. You just have to communicate with us. And in the spirit of gratitude, when you guys get up, we've got some new faces. Make sure you welcome them. Introduce yourselves. If you see people you haven't seen in a while, make sure you say hello to them. Let's celebrate the spirit of community and gratitude. And we'll see you guys in 10 minutes. Out. Cool. We're back. Okay, wonderful. I was going to say this sounds a lot better, right? It's because it's off. All right. And Adam, my mic's on for you? Great. LuLu said, turn it down. This is exactly what our experience is like at home. I'm constantly downstairs watching TV, and she's always shouting down to me, turn it down, turn it down. Check, 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 check. I literally had her give me headphones for my birthday so I could watch the TV with headphones on. Oh, I asked for them for my birthday, yes. It was a whole family. It was really a gift to LuLu. As it should be. Thank you. Thank you. But so every sanctuary is an opportunity to come together and to enjoy the fellowship of friends, family, and neighbors. And this truly is a blessing, insofar as we have non-religious secular blessings. Meta awareness. We are right to celebrate and cherish this moment. But we should also be mindful of all those who aren't here, or couldn't be here, or who are no longer with us. We should think of those who might be grieving or struggling with mental or physical health issues. And we might even take a moment to be mindful of our own struggles, our own issues. Each of our fates is tied to a random roll of the dice. And accordingly, we should be mindful to balance our gratitude with our compassion. As we say in our reflection, not alone, there is peace in knowing that we are neither chosen for mercy nor singled out for suffering. To lead us through our next reflection, we'd like to call up Caleb to read on page 15, the reflection on compassion. Caleb, are you mic'd?
Yes.
Great.
Even as we recount the things that we have to be grateful for, and there are many, let us also observe how much of our fate is determined by circumstances outside of our control. There is not one among us who deserves credit for choosing their genes, or their parents, or where or when they were born. And neither is there one among us who deserves blame for their burdens, or their afflictions, or their shortcomings. It is a fact of nature that our fate is neither a reward nor a punishment. No one deserves praise or blame for their being. Let us view the world honestly and see each other truly, and recognize that all are deserving of compassion and grace. Let it be so.
Let it be so. Thank you, Caleb. And that really does help us to shift our focus and consider not just our own fate, not just our own privilege, but also the condition and the plight of others. We mentioned that we have new reflections booklets, and one of the things that we've added is a unique devoted reflection that goes with each one of our beacons. So we have 5 beacons. We have 5 devoted reflections now that will just come out in the corresponding month. The idea is that this booklet now will have reflections that we bring in and out according to the beacon and the month. The beacon this month is self-awareness, and the devoted reflection is on page... What page is it on? Oh, page 19, right? The lucky ones, sorry. Richard Dawkins is an evolutionary biologist, a well-known science communicator, and his foundation, the Richard Dawkins Foundation for Reason and Science, is now part of the Center for Inquiry, which is, thank you, which is also an organization that Ministry of Skepticism, we are also an affiliate member now of Center for Inquiry. And they, the conference that LuLu and Celina and Sean and I all attended in Buffalo, New York, was part of Center for Inquiry, a skeptic conference. In Dawkins' 1998 book, Unweaving the Rainbow, Science, Delusion, and the Appetite for Wonder, he wrote a passage that serves as the inspiration for the next reflection that we're about to read. It's also the inspiration for these really cool t-shirts some of us are wearing. And if you'd love one of these cool, awesome designs, we can help you get one. Just talk to us or follow us on Instagram. But I'm going to share with you now the passage, the source of inspiration from Richard Dawkins, and then we will invite Nick. No, not Nick. Oh, okay. We're stealing it from Ben. Nick, have you read this?
I don't want to steal it from Ben, though.
Okay, perfect. Arm wrestle. Yeah.
Or we can
We're going to have a
harmonize.
battle to the death. Yeah.
Every other word?
No, but it really is a long reflection. I'm going to have you guys split it up. We're going to have Ben read the first 2 paragraphs, since he was here first. And then, Nick, you will close it out.
Perfect.
But so here's the passage from Richard Dawkins, from his book, Unweaving the Rainbow. We are going to die, and that makes us the lucky ones. Most people are never going to die because they're never going to be born. The potential people who could have been here in my place, but who will in fact never see the light of day, outnumber the sand grains of Arabia. Certainly, those unborn ghosts include greater poets than Keats, scientists greater than Newton. We know this because the set of possible people allowed by our DNA so massively exceeds the set of actual people. In the teeth of these stupefying odds, it is you and I, in our ordinariness, that are here. We privileged few who won the lottery of birth against all odds. How dare we whine at our inevitable return to that prior state from which the vast majority have never stirred? So in that spirit of appreciation for the miracle of life, and death is just a validation of that miracle, of that privilege, we are the lucky ones. So Ben and Nick, and we can, or they just hold it and hand it to each other. Guys, make sure you speak into it. Adam, is that correct?
I'm going to let him hold it from the clip part.
And they can just talk into it?
Don't put it in your hand. It's really hard to microphone it.
Don't hold it. Just hold the clip.
You just want to take mine and just mic them both up? Can you have them both mic'd up? This is on page 19 of your reflections booklets, the lucky.
We are going to die. That makes us the lucky ones. Against extraordinary odds, atoms on Earth organized into a unique arrangement of organic molecules to form you. Stars outnumber humans in the universe by a factor of hundreds of trillions to one, and yet none of your atoms reside in the stars. Most of the ordinary matter in the universe exists in gas clouds floating between galaxies, and yet none of your atoms are tied up in that vast cosmic web.
Of the near infinite arrangements you could have been, or might never have been, your atoms bonded in just such a way as to grant you awareness, empathy, language, and memory. Stars illuminate vast eons of space and time, but they will never know the light of self-awareness. Lucky are we whose light flickers on, even if only for a moment, to ignite an experience as rich as it is rare. Let it be so.
Let it be so.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Wonderful. Well done. Thank you, guys. Oh, thank you, Nick. Thank you. Is that good, Adam? You got me back? Awesome. That was great, guys. It wasn't a competition, but it was a tie. You guys both did great. We've talked a lot about religion and non-religion. We talked about our messaging. And clearly, a crucial component of this entire mission, what we're doing here, is the concept of scientific skepticism. That is a concept that most of us, certainly most people out in the world, are not really entirely familiar with. So a big part of our mission, our charge here, is to help educate people and enlighten people and bring them to scientific skepticism, to understand what it is, what it's about. LuLu in these sanctuaries has been help guiding us through that process. So now, to talk to us and help us understand and engage with these ideas a little more, LuLu will come up to talk to us about what is skepticism. Oh.
When people hear the word skeptic, their minds often associate it with doubt or denial, which is technically fair, definition-wise, but when I say I identify as a skeptic, I am specifically referring to the modern scientific skeptical movement pioneered by people like James Randi, Carl Sagan, and Isaac Asimov. This movement emerged in response to a surge of paranormal claims and pseudoscience in the 1970s as a way to push back against superstition, fear-mongering, and deception. Scientific skepticism applies the principles of the scientific method and scientific inquiry to help us arrive at the most likely and best supported conclusions. Now, I identify as a skeptic, meaning I make a concerted effort to follow the evidence wherever it may lead, even if I'm uncomfortable with the conclusions or if those conclusions remain uncertain, rather than accepting what feels right or intuitive or seeking out what I wish to be true. Even with this respect for and application of the scientific method, I think it's important to emphasize that skeptics should not blindly believe the science, because skepticism is quite the opposite of blindly believing anything, even and especially science. One of my favorite science fiction books is Isaac Asimov's Foundation, and as you may recall, he's one of the founders of the modern skeptical movement. It's been a while since I've read this book, actually, so feel free to correct me if my memory or my reference to the internet led me astray. But if I remember correctly, one of the central ideas is that after society collapses and advanced technology becomes something like a religion, they have these priests who are scientists who know how to operate these incredibly sophisticated machines, but they don't really understand them, the people don't understand them, and this technology becomes sacred. It's treated with reverence rather than curiosity. I remember first reading that and thinking, wow, how cool, a religion centered around science and technology. But that's not really what it was. Their knowledge was treated as sacred authority rather than something to investigate or challenge. Their religion of science was not actually a celebration of scientific inquiry, but the Ministry of Skepticism is. We are a religion centered around science and skepticism, but we aren't here to worship science or scientists, and we're not here to place scientific conclusions on a pedestal. We value the process, and we value the evidence. Science is not a collection of facts to memorize or defend. It's a method for figuring things out, a way of asking questions, testing ideas, making predictions, looking for evidence, and perhaps, most importantly, correcting ourselves when we are wrong. Scientific conclusions change, individual studies are wrong all the time, and even long-standing scientific consensus evolves as better evidence emerges. And these are the reasons science and skepticism are the best tools we have for uncovering the truth and confronting reality. The goal is not to be right from the very beginning. The goal is to build a process that allows us to become progressively less wrong. Skeptics don't necessarily trust conclusions, they trust the process that produced them. And skepticism has never been about defending beliefs or positions. It's about proportioning our beliefs to the evidence that we have today while remaining willing to revise them tomorrow. And this can be freeing. You don't have to defend an idea simply because you believed it yesterday. You don't have to cling to certainty, and you don't have to fear changing your mind. Skepticism is not certainty, dogma, or unwavering confidence. It is curiosity, humility, and a commitment to follow the evidence wherever it leads. Skepticism is trusting the process more than the conclusion. Asimov's religion of science was built on the authority of science, while ours is built on the practice of science. Thanks.
Thank you. Excellent, thank you. LuLu, and you know, also I noticed, LuLu, that, could y'all hear her okay? Yeah. Because she wasn't doing what, she wasn't just talking like this, people can hear you fine, right?
It hurts.
Yeah, well, hey, I can admit when I'm wrong and I'm open to new evidence. I'm willing to revise my position. This is skepticism in action. I just needed to see the evidence. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
That's what skepticism is. And if you need help with any of that, or reminders, things you can refer back to, some of these ideas are in here. In our skeptical toolkit, in our skeptical tools, the very first one is independent confirmation. This is on page 28. And it says, don't stop at one source. The strongest claims are backed up by multiple independent lines of evidence. And then just a couple underneath that, you'll also see question authority, which is exactly what LuLu was speaking to. And this is not the same thing as denying expertise. As it says here, consensus among relevant experts is generally reliable. You usually would do well to follow the advice of the consensus of the relevant experts in any field. But that's not a free pass. Even experts can be wrong. So judge an argument ultimately by its evidence, not by who makes it. That would be the logical fallacy that we call the appeal to authority. So thank you for that, LuLu. And we encourage you to look through the skeptical toolkit, the Skeptics Toolkit. Sneak preview. Disregard that.
Oh, I'm excited.
So this is the Illumination now. The Incandescence was kind of like the personal testimony. Our Illumination is kind of our version of a sermon. So I will lead this Illumination today, and we are on the theme of self-awareness. LuLu has always said that there are three things that she knows about me. I always have a lint roller, I love beer, and I love Corey Feldman. Is that pretty accurate?
That's the other one, yeah.
Is that about right? Uh-huh. And two of those things are mostly true. Did anyone know? Two truths and a lie. Huh? I love Corey Feldman. In LuLu's defense, she was probably only 8 years old when she gave me a coaster that she'd made out of what are they called? Wine corks. And when she handed it to me for Father's Day, she said, "Here, I made you this because I know you like beer." So that was just kind of weird and wrong on so many levels. But in her defense, I mean, kids don't know the difference between wine and beer, first of all. They just think all alcohol is beer, I guess. And LuLu, I think, for her part, must think that all adults drink alcohol. That's what they do. So in her mind, it made sense to give me a coaster made of wine corks because I love beer. But I don't love beer. And if I'm being honest, I don't even love wine. I don't drink that often. But thank you, baby. I loved it.
You're welcome.
Best Father's Day ever. But you're right. I do love Corey Feldman, and I do always have a lint roller close by. We bring one to every sanctuary with us. I have one in the car. I have one by the door when I leave the house. When you wear black a lot, you have to have lint rollers, and especially if you have cats. Am I right? Yeah. Cat lovers?
We did talk about that.
Dogs probably apply as well. Pet lovers. How many people? Oh, so let's now get to our slide here, actually. How many of you know who Corey Feldman is?
Ooh.
He is the one in the middle here, next to Austin. What's that guy's name? Austin? Sean Astin. Thank you. God, we have some Goonies fans. Awesome. What's that?
There's an album as well.
Which one?
Well, Corey.
Oh, Corey, of course. Trust me. Come on. This is all about Corey Feldman. Yes. Before we get to his album, let's talk about this era of Corey Feldman, right? We've got the Goonies, which is what we're looking at here. These are classic 80s movies. He was in Gremlins. He was in Stand By Me. He was in Lost Boys. I mean, a lot of like iconic, foundational 80s movies. And for those of us that grew up in that time or even that have raised kids and shared some of those influences, I mean, these are like foundational, seminal movies. Also, I don't know how many of you know, he was in one of the Friday the 13th movies. He was the one that, yeah. Did he kill Jason? No? Oh, he got killed by Jason. Yeah, spoiler. Is he the one that discovered who Jason was? Wasn't something about discovering that was, this really is a spoiler. Empathetic, thank you. So anyway, at the end of the 80s, after all these iconic movies, and as Corey got a little older and became a teenager, he started making kind of more teenage-focused fare, License to Drive, Dream a Little Dream. This is Zach's favorite Corey Feldman era. And in fact, I didn't get to consult with Zach before I did this Illumination. He usually sort of guides the themes for these things, so I was just kind of winging it on my own, but I tried to channel him. I know he likes 80s culture. Is this okay? to go with this? Okay, doing great. License to Drive and kind of these late or teenage Corey movies are what spawned what we would now call the meme of the two Coreys, because he started with Corey Haim. It was Corey Haim and Corey Feldman, so it was the two Coreys, two teenage dreamboats, I guess. And Celina is wearing a Corey Feldman earring today.
Yes!
And this is from the License to Drive era. So LuLu on probably the most recent, was it a Father's Day?
I think I just was
Or it was just a
thrifting.
gift, just being thoughtful. She came across them, these earrings, while she was thrifting. On each earring, one is Corey Haim, one's Corey Feldman from License to Drive. And she got it for me. And she probably said, because I know you like Corey Feldman.
Yeah.
And this time you were exactly right, man. You nailed it. Thank you. But so after this two Coreys era, Feldman's star began to dim, and he was relegated to kind of B-movies and straight-to-video releases. His acting career just kind of dropped off a cliff. But the reason I'm fascinated about Corey, and the reason why we are talking about him, is because today's beacon is self-awareness. And to my eyes, and this has been true for a long time, Corey has stayed in the public eye, and he seems just a glaring, extravagant example of the lack of self-awareness. Because, Ben, to your point, let's see if we can do this. Today, Corey is not known for those classic movies. He remains in the public eye largely due to like reality TV appearances. He was on Dancing with the Stars recently. He had an infamous appearance on Wife Swap. He had his own short-lived series with Corey Haim, so it was called The Two Coreys. But all these things are kind of like watching train wrecks. And notably, Corey is known now for kind of petulant outbursts and for his musical career, but even to describe it as that kind of feels like it's sort of misleading or overstating what it actually is. Whoa. It is more like who said that?
Ben.
Okay. I say that because I feel like most of his audience is not watching it earnestly because they think that he's a talented musician. We watch it as a kind of a novelty, kind of, as I said, an exercise or kind of a study in, I don't want to be too critical here, but it's almost like self-debasement or, as we said, just kind of a lack of self-awareness. Before we get here, I want to give a little background on this era of Corey Feldman and how we got here. But so, Michael Jackson loved children. Okay, and I realize that is a provocative statement. So make of that what you will. I'm not here to talk about Michael Jackson, but in the 80s he was friends with child celebrities. He showed up a lot with Macaulay Culkin from Home Alone. He was friends with Corey Feldman, and clearly had a huge influence on the young Corey Feldman. So much so that Corey began modeling his own persona after Michael Jackson. You can see here, this is a fairly recent image of Corey Feldman. He's wearing loafers there, sparkling loafers. He's doing a Michael Jackson pose. He even started incorporating this persona that he'd adopted into his movies. When you look at his teenage movies and onward, he starts working these. He dresses like Michael Jackson in the movies. He's got a little curly cue that he fashioned like Michael Jackson. He wears a hat, he wears gloves. And listen, Michael Jackson is cool. All personal problematic issues aside, he's a great entertainer. There's no question that he's a great performer, great singer, great dancer. Corey Feldman, although adopting a lot of Michael Jackson's persona and trappings, was not any of those things. He's not a great singer. He's not a great dancer. And even when he tries to dress like Michael Jackson is a singular, iconic figure. So it's not like, it's not like just adopting the cool latest style. It is literally just looks like dress up. It looks like dressing in character. It looks like a Halloween costume. So whenever he shows up dressed like Michael Jackson, presumably an idol and a clear influence of his, it's unmistakable as anything other than kind of like cosplay. And so it makes Corey Feldman look strange. And it alienated him to most of his audience. It's probably had a large reason or played a big role in his drop-off in terms of bankability as a star. And don't get me wrong, Corey Feldman, certainly as a child actor, was a really good child actor. If you watch Gremlins or Goonies, he's really good, or Stand By Me. And I imagine he'd probably still be good today. But he chose a different path for whatever reason. He envisioned himself as a performer in the style of Michael Jackson. He probably thinks he was born to sing and dance like Michael Jackson. He makes music. He goes on tours today and performs his own material. And I encourage all of you to go on to YouTube and watch some of it. Because if you think that I am doing him dirty here, and I certainly am, but when you watch it, I think that it is justified. You will understand what we're talking about. And again, this is not a unique perspective to me. This is kind of what Corey Feldman is known as, is this strange study in performance art, only he doesn't seem to be consciously aware of it. So I want to be clear about something. When I talk about kind of the train wreck quality of Corey Feldman, when I accuse him or cast aspersions at him, I say he's not a great dancer. He's not a great singer. And clearly, Ben, I'm sorry, I know that you're a Corey fan, that is clear, and you picked the wrong time to show up to a sanctuary. But just bear with me, because I don't think that that talent is necessarily innate. I don't buy into this myth that you were born a genius. I think it mostly comes from hard work. And I think that if Corey put in the time to be a better singer or a better dancer, there's no reason he couldn't be those things. What keeps him from getting better is his inability to self-evaluate, honestly. He thinks that he is better than he is, and so he doesn't seek growth, and he never improves. Sorry, Ben. I know this is painful.
You're right, it just hurts.
It does hurt. And so what happens is, as he goes out on the road, and when he's at home in his home studio performing with his band, because he lacks this ability to self-evaluate, he's never getting better. He's never seeking out honest criticism. He's never responding to that criticism and growing. He's just getting better and better at this bad performance. And if this were just a breakdown, a takedown of a guy who's not a great dancer, then it probably wouldn't be that interesting or not that appropriate for an illumination here. But we are talking about self-awareness. So I think that this is completely within the scope of our discussion. Corey Feldman seems wholly unaware how other people see him. And that is to say, he is incapable of imagining how he looks from someone else's perspective. He has an image of himself that is impervious to criticism. And from his vantage, all of his critics are either incapable or unqualified to judge his real talent. Or they have some axe to grind against him. And if you think that I'm making that up, he literally has invented an entire conspiracy theory. He calls it the dark media, and he says that they are out to get him. So anytime he gets bad reviews, it is all people that are part of this dark cabal aligned against him. This is like cope, right? This is serious coping mechanism. And so I long ago developed kind of this pet theory that I've called like Corey Feldman syndrome. And the original inklings of this theory were always that people like child actors, it's not exclusively reserved for child actors, but people that are exposed to a lot of praise and adulation at a young age while their minds are still developing, they sort of get emotionally and interpersonally stunted, their emotional growth at that age. Because much like Corey's imperviousness to criticism, when everybody is telling you at a young age that everything you're doing is right and good, then you lose the incentive to keep working on growth. And so you sort of get stuck at that age emotionally where that happens. And so for Corey, he's kind of like this perpetual 12-year-old emotionally. And you can see it in kind of his petulant attitude and his inability to self-criticize or to accept or recognize criticism. And as interesting as I think that pet theory is, I think in the scope or in the context of actual literature and academia, there's a lot that it misses. It's probably a little too precious as a theory. I think that it's on to something, but it lacks, I think, clarity. So I'd like to talk a little bit about some of the literature, and we've got a psychologist here, so she can check me on this. Don't trust one source of information, but within psychological and developmental research, there are several relevant concepts that help paint the picture. Metacognition, which is the ability to evaluate our own judgments and know when we might be wrong. Self-concept is the collection of beliefs that we have about who we are, so you can see how all these things are at play in someone like Corey. But perhaps most pertinently is reflected self-appraisal. And I think this speaks to exactly what we're talking about here, which is the ability to model ourselves as an object in someone else's mind. What do I think other people think of me? Corey lacks that skill. Sera talked a lot about this kind of in her Incandescence, but we often think of self-awareness as a form of introspection, looking inward. But reflected self-appraisal introduces an external calibration. It gives us more mirrors, essentially, to point back at ourselves. We need other people, consequences, failure, embarrassment, criticism, rejection, all the things that most of us go through typically as kids. But if you're shielded from it, if you're constantly told that you're right, you don't get that experience. And so it's not just that, as in my original pet theory, it's not just a case of being exposed to too much praise or adulation. What really is the critical component here is being denied the ability to self-criticize. Corey Feldman failed to receive the critical feedback necessary for growth. He was feedback deprived. That's the key takeaway. And when we talk about this concept of mirrors that we can point back at ourselves, the idea of thinking about ourselves through other people's lens, it's also important to remember that some of those mirrors pointing back at ourselves come from us as well. And so as Sera pointed out in the Incandescence, we learn a lot about ourselves through these mirrors. We can never see ourselves directly. We only know ourselves through these mirrors, our own mirrors, the mirrors that we see in other people's minds. But through constant awareness, just like last month, we talked about agency and we talked a lot about the invisible influences and the sway that they hold over our lives, the puppet strings, we call them. But these mirrors are another important concept that are important and helpful to keep in mind. How we view ourselves, how we learn these pictures of ourselves. So although we made this extraordinary, outlandish example of Corey Feldman, and in fairness, I have to say, obviously I don't know Corey. There's a lot about him that I have left out of this. He was the subject of real abuse, substance abuse, physical, sexual abuse. What I'm doing here is really unfair and is cartoonish, and I've made a caricature of him. There is certainly a lot more at play in the reality of whatever is going on with Corey Feldman's psychology. So I kind of do regret that I've made him a punchline here, essentially. But he is a public figure, and so I am just kind of using him to illustrate, in I hope a somewhat entertaining way, real insights that I think are valuable for all of us. This idea to self-criticize, to think about how other people think of us, and also to be critical in our own evaluation of ourselves. Self-awareness requires more than self-reflection. It requires honest mirrors. Be the light, spread the light, protect the light. We are going to have... all his mirrors are pointing outward. That's right. He is not looking at himself at all. Good point. Exactly.
Very true.
That outfit, yes, encapsulates his psychosis. So we'll bring up Celina. She's going to walk us through some closing remarks, and then that will take us right into our final ceremony, our closing ceremony, which is, oh gosh, what have I done? Just
went ahead.
There we go. I just don't see the cursor. That's why I'm confused. There we go.
All right, we're running just a few minutes behind, so I'm going to breeze through these pretty quickly. First of all, thank you again. We appreciate everybody coming and taking the time to be here. It means a lot to us. Our next event is going to be our constellation. Thursday, we always do them 2 weeks after our sanctuary. Thursday evenings, 7 p.m. we start. We end about 9 and then usually socialize for a while after. There are drinks, cocktails, and food, and great conversation at those. So we always, we have them at Turbo Coffee, which is on Coit Road. On the flyers that you have in front of you, it tells you the details of where those are. Constellations are our social meetups. So they complement our sanctuary services, and we dive deep into the beacon that we just talked about. So this one obviously will be self-awareness.
Ben, if you want to talk more about Corey Feldman.
Exactly. Exactly. We can just zoom you in.
Yeah.
Yes? Sorry, that it's not the 20th.
That's me.
It's the 30th.
That's my bad.
Yeah, it is the 30th.
I'm fallible.
Yeah. Thank you for pointing that out, because I thought it was a mistake only in here.
Dang it.
So
Make sure you check our socials.
Thursday the 30th, we will announce it on Instagram.
Also, our website always is updated
Right.
with the next event. So you can always go to ministryofskepticism.org and see the time and location of the next events.
Right, thank you. Again, our Midnight Mass is coming up. That's our 1-year anniversary. It's going to be a special evening to celebrate our first anniversary. It should also be listed on your little flyers. Saturday, August the 15th. Someone please check the date on that. August the 15th from 6 p.m. We're going into 1 a.m. because as soon as we pass midnight, it will actually be our true anniversary. Yep. Our first actual sanctuary last year was August 16th of 2025. Again, we're going to hold it at Lobo AR Studios. That's in Dallas. The information about where it's held will come through our socials. Like I mentioned earlier, we're going to send out paper invites. If you want the invite sent to you and you haven't already written it down on the mailing list, come find me. I'll get it down for you. Quick question. How many people were here at our first sanctuary?
Wow.
Oh, that's a good amount. Thank you guys for your commitment and continued support. We really appreciate it. That was it. That was in Plano last year. Yeah, Schimmelfinnig. Yep. We're going to have food, drinks, and a DJ set as well. So it's going to be a shortened sanctuary. We're going to have an Incandescence. And then we're going to roll into our DJ set for the night. We will have some fun. After our sanctuary is over, we're going to go for coffee and brunch nearby. It's called Sweet Waters Coffee and Tea. It is 8 minutes from here, right off the Turnpike, George Bush Turnpike. That is not in your flyers. It's at 3613 Shire Boulevard. There are multiple locations. There's even one kind of close to here, just east of us. That's not the one we're going to. It's, south, right down 75 on George Bush in Richardson. So if you look up Sweetwater's Cafe, Coffee and Tea.
Shire.
Sweetwater's. It's on Shire Boulevard in Richardson. If you enjoyed this, please come back. We know many of you do. We appreciate it. Please talk to people. As he mentioned earlier at dinner, multiple times we're able to just tell our servers about what it is we're doing. If you look for opportunities, they will come. If you're thinking about what we're doing, you'll find ways to talk about it. We are finding people are looking for this. So the more we share it, we don't want to keep it to ourselves, the more people will get to experience what we're all enjoying here. And also, invite people to our constellation is kind of a good step into this, so it's a much more casual, so that's another way you can invite people. Thank you very much for coming. Spread the light. We are going into our closing ceremony now. That is
We turn our attention once again to the lantern, an encasement of iron and glass that protects the candle burning within. The candle itself is a symbol representing the light of knowledge and reason. The light must be protected. Protect the light. Now take up your lanterns and carry them out into the world. Hold them high and let their radiant light shine against the encroaching darkness of pseudoscience, superstition, and unreason. Science is a candle in the dark. The lantern is a beacon of rationality. Spread the light. Religion is a powerful tool, and we employ it earnestly in the service of our skeptical message. We acknowledge the role that narrative and ritual play in making our teachings more palatable and our lessons more transmissible. Even as our spirits are raised in transcendence, our feet remain grounded in reality. We draw a bright line between the tales that we tell ourselves and the truth. Blow out the candles. The candle carries no meaning outside of our metaphors. The lantern is just iron and glass, after all. The only source of meaning, so far as we know, is you and your self-awareness, the most extraordinary creation in all of the cosmos. You are the source of reason. You are the source of knowledge, and you are how the universe thinks about itself. Feed your curiosity, sharpen your skeptical tools, spread the message of skepticism and critical thinking. You are the light. Be the light. Spread the light, protect the light, and repeat back with me. Be the light, spread the light, protect the light. Let it be so.
Awesome, thank you. Nice, perfect.
Thank you guys for coming. If anybody wants to help with the setup, don't stack chairs until they're on the rolling cart.
Two.
The second one? I think we have 3 rolling carts that need to be stacked up on.
Yeah, best one.
If that makes sense.
I think it does.
Dad, the new books look so good.
Doesn't it look great?
Yeah. And that was a great.
Did you love the Corey Feldman surprise? Yeah.
What were we saying about this?
It was a great sweet fit.
Oh yeah.
It was, yeah.
Oh yeah, I was loving the Skeptics Toolkit because I've been looking for a list of all these things.
And that's not even all of them. So we pulled those from schoolofthought.org. That is your logical fallacies. That is your biases. So it's a free website resource, and it's just got all the biases listed there. They're like in little flashcards, and yeah, it's a great resource. And we just pulled a few of them for the booklet. Who's coming to after? Yeah? You said you're all coming? Okay, cool, great.
Yeah, we gotta help with chairs.
Where did the UTDs go? Hey, you UTD guys. Hey, just want to say thank y'all for coming. Are y'all coming to the coffee? Are y'all coming to the coffee after? You're welcome to. Well, you don't have to drink coffee. They've also got food, but also conversation. You're welcome. If not, hopefully we'll see you next time. What was it called? Sweet water on Shire? Do y'all know where that is? Okay. Thank y'all so much for coming. It was good to see you.
I was wrong about Ray Feldman and Friday the 13th Sport. I realized he plays Tommy Jarvis.
He plays the camp director's son, and I think he does kill Jason.
Yeah, he does.
I knew it. Dang it! Now I got to go back and tell. Hey.